We have one goal and one goal only today, and that is to stop Summoning Star from ever being born. I mean, from happening. Hey, Nick from 9card TCG. What? I don't, it's late, it's late, it's like 9 p.m., but like, that's late for me. I don't record videos at night. I usually do them in the morning or the afternoon, so like, if I got a weird energy, that's why. But we're gonna be playing, okay, backstep, backspace, delete that. No, that's Kevin Hart bit. No one knows what I'm doing. I don't even know what I'm doing. Lugia is very, very popular. It's very strong. It's super annoying. It dominated LAIC, the Latin America International Championships. I thought I was getting it wrong. I was like, what else would anyway, so Lugia, super good, super strong, dominated major, nearly 1,000-person tournament, and we might need to learn how to stop it. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are going to ruin some people's day if they're trying to play Lugia. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Tells YouTube this is a good channel. Other people should watch it. If you are new to the Pokemon trading card game, maybe you saw some LAIC coverage, maybe Silver Tempest kind of got you into it, maybe you're playing Scarlet and Violet, and you're like, you know what, I need more Pokemon, I want to start playing the cards, and all you keep seeing or hearing about is Lugia, and you need a relatively cheap way to be able to combat Lugia. Well, this is a great option, and we're going to head over to the Pokemon trading card game online to take a look at the deck and get some gameplay footage. So why don't we just go do that? So here we are, PTCGO. This deck is honestly extremely cheap. I mean, everything in here is only a couple of dollars at the most. Flying Pikachu VMAX is like $1 or $2. It's something stupid. It's very, very cheap. But let's kind of take this step by step. This looks like a bunch of, like, a lot of stuff's happening, but really, we got a couple of, like, two main things that we're trying to do. The first, we got this Koffing. This Koffing, we're using it because it has the attack Ascension, which is a really nice attack because if we go second, we can start the Koffing, attach a Dark Energy to it, and then when we use Ascension, we get to search a deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and immediately put it onto the active Koffing. So this Koffing evolves straight away into Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing has 130 health, pretty high retreat cost at 3, but we can deal with that, and we'll see how. But it has the neutralizing gas ability, which says as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, none of your opponent's Pokemon have any abilities. So that means they can't use Primal Turbo on the Archeops. They can't even get the Archeops into play because they have to use Summoning Star, which is an ability. They can't use Luminion's Luminous Sign ability. They can't use Crobat's Dark Asset. They can't make use of Charizard's Excited Heart ability. Like, almost all of their Pokemon have abilities that they need to use, and now with neutralizing gas in play, it says no, you don't. So really cool. And also, Severe Poison is a really nice way to put some pressure on your opponent's active Pokemon, because it says for just that single Dark Energy that we already attached to get the Weezing in play, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, and you put 4 damage counters on it instead of 1 during Pokemon checkup. So it's a kind of puts a clock on some of their Pokemon, maybe like one of their single prizes that, like, they might be trying to hide behind while they build up manually, like a Lugia or something. Now puts like a 2-turn clock on that Manaphy or Dunsparce because they're taking 4 damage in between turns. So really nice pressure from something like Weezing. We also have Aerodactyl V. We don't really care about the V. We want to use the V-Star. And Lost Dive is an alright attack for fighting double colorless. Does 240. Discard the top 3 cards of our deck into the lost zone. Fine, whatever. We don't really care too much about it. It's not a bad attack damage-wise to, like, just, again, something got a little chip damage from Severe Poison. Now we just go in, take the KO with Lost Dive, but really, we want to use the V-Star power, which is our once per game attack or once per game ability. In this case, it is an attack that turns into ability. So we attach the energy to this thing, it doesn't matter what kind, and we can use Ancient Star, which says when we use this V-Star power, we gain the ability that all of our opponent's Pokemon V have no abilities. So Lugia V-Star loses its Summoning Star ability. Lumineon and Crobat V lose their abilities. Now, it doesn't affect Archeops directly, and it doesn't affect Radiant Charizard directly, but it stops Lugia from getting Archeops into play, so they can never use the Primal Turbo to begin with. So that's kind of why we have the Aerodactyl. If they do start to build up a Lugia on the bench, they're trying to hide behind, maybe we have the Weezing or we have the Aerodactyl, now they can't, they can't use the Summoning Star, so they're trying to manually build one up. We have Yveltal with Cryo Destruction for 2 colorless energies. We can discard up to 3 special energies from our opponent's Pokemon in any way we want. Doesn't matter if they're in the active or the bench, we just get to eliminate special energy from the field. And this is really nice because that means we get rid of that double turbo, that powerful colorless, we get rid of that Aurora energy that they need to use their whatever Pokemon attack. So, we have some options. And then of course we have our attacker in the form of Flying Pikachu VMAX Max Balloon for that lightning double colorless, hits for 160. Lugia is weak to lightning. Now, yes, they're probably going to have Dunsparce, so we're going to have the 2-shot, but in case they don't have the Dunsparce, maybe they don't have the bench space for it, maybe they just can't afford to put it into play for some reason. I don't know, something happens. They whiff a quick ball. I don't really know. We can one-shot a Lugia even if they have a V-Guard energy if we hit for weakness, unless we have a double turbo. I guess math is fun. It gets complicated with the math, but whatever. We have really good pressure from Max Balloon, and during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from attacks from basic Pokemon, which means our opponent can't use something like a Radiant Charizard to come back and hit us. They can use Yveltal. The Amazing Destruction does take a KO because it's not doing damage, it's an effect, and this says prevent damage, not prevent all effects. Damage is not an effect. Suffice it to say. Now, we do have a retreat cost of 0, which is pretty nice. Both the Flying Pikachu V and VMAX have free retreat, so it's really cool to have a pivot option. Now, we mentioned before that Weezing has a nasty retreat cost of 3. However, we got this Hiding Dark Energy, which says that if we attach it to a dark Pokemon, it has no retreat cost. So that dark, that Yveltal with the Cryo Destruction, the Weezing, the Crobat, when we attach that Hiding Dark Energy, they all have free retreat, and we do run 4 of them. We got 3 Aurora energies to fulfill the requirements of really any attack we need. We can attack with Crobat if we want. Venomous Fang does 70. Our opponent's active Pokemon's poison's cool. It's really for draw, but it is an attacker if you need one in a pinch. But it's going to fulfill that lightning energy, that fighting energy, the dark energy, whatever we need, because it does provide one of every type of energy, but only one at a time, if that makes any sense. So if you need a lightning energy, it is a lightning energy, but it won't provide 2 lightning energies, or a lightning and a fighting, for example. It's just one of those. We do have a Stone Fighting Energy, which again is going to give us the fighting energy for something like Aerodactyl, and we take 20 less damage when attached to Aerodactyl, so that's kind of cool. Some double turbo energies. We already saw the Yveltal, Aerodactyl, and Flying Pikachu all attack for an energy plus double colorless, except Yveltal, which is just double colorless. We got some big Parasols to prevent Yveltal from just knocking out a VMAX, from knocking out a V-Star. It's going to prevent something like Giratina from taking a big KO, because it says prevent all effects of attacks done to your Pokemon when it's attached to the active. So that's kind of cool. It is worth noting that Star Requiem is in effect. Lost Mine is in effect. Anything that says like place damage counters or just take a KO is technically in effect. So, cool stuff from the big Parasol. Our support account, 4 Marnies we want to disrupt. 4 research, sometimes we have to dig kind of hard. And a Serena, which acts as 2 or one of 2 things. We can use it as a draw supporter, discard up to 3 cards, draw until we have 5 in our hand, or switch one of our opponent's Pokemon V with their, active Pokemon. So switch one of their benched Pokemon V with their active, and it's just a nice little gust effect. We got some Energy Loto to try to find energies, a Pokemon Search, we have Quick Balls to find basics, Ultra Balls to find any Pokemon we want, and Evolution Incense to find our evolution Pokemon. We have some Pokégears. We can look at the top 7 cards of our deck, find a supporter that in those 7 cards and put it into our hand. Some switches in case we need to move some stuff around. Maybe like Aerodactyl is stuck in the active. Maybe we don't have a Hiding Dark Energy in hand. We can still have a little bit of mobility. And then on top of all of this, on top of the Weezing, on top of the Aerodactyl, we have Path to the Peak. Now, Path to the Peak says Roblox Pokemon have no abilities, which does include Pokemon V, V-Star, VMAX, V-Unions. It includes Radiant Pokemon. None of them have abilities. I know what you're thinking. Nick, doesn't this turn off Aerodactyl's Ancient Star, which is an attack that turns into an ability? Yes, it does. However, we don't really care, because Ancient Star and Path to the Peak do the same thing. They both turn off abilities from Pokemon V. So, if Path to the Peak is in play, well then our opponent's Pokemon V don't have abilities. And then if they get rid of Path to the Peak by bumping it, Lost Vacuum, something like that, they play Pumpkaboo, then Aerodactyl's ability comes back in and says, your Pokemon V still don't have abilities. So, you know, we have a 2-for-1. They have to deal with both now, and then we just throw a Weezing in the active, and now none of their Pokemon have abilities. There's just so many cool ways we can stop Pokemon from doing what they want to do. I kind of talked about this for a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I do think it's an interesting deck. I found this from Joe over in Omnipoke. I don't remember exactly who piloted this deck, so I apologize. I can't give proper credit to them. I just saw that Joe had a video on all these Lugia counters, and I really wanted to try one. This one kind of caught my eye, and well, we're going to go ahead and try a game. We'll see how it does. Alright, going into the first game, I have no control over the games that I get. We just get a couple of games. We win the coin flip. I do think we want to go first for the sole reason that, one, we could do stuff like this, and now we get this Hiding Dark Energy. We just kind of chill behind the Weezing. Okay, we're playing a Reggie Drago. Now, this is kind of scary, actually, because there is a chance that the Regis gets the turn to attack, and if they do, then we just lose, right? Because I don't have another Pokemon. I am not able to play a supporter to try to dig for one. Path to the Peak doesn't stop them here, so we just kind of have to hope that they whiff their attack. And if they don't, which, my goodness, do they just have all 5 please, my god, 5 Regis in their 7-card hand, or 8-card hand, whatever. They get the Energy, Air Balloon, and they just get to draw 4. Yeah, they're just drawing fresh 4 thanks to Dragon's Horde, which, okay, so we get some stuff. We get to do some things here. We don't have to use the Evolution Incense. I'm kind of tempted to just... They didn't really do much after the Dragon's Horde. They didn't play a supporter. They didn't play any Pokemon Search to get that final Regieleki. So I'm not really tempted to Marnie them. I think I'm just going to research here. I'm just going to research. Okay, we find an Ultra Ball, which is kind of important because we need another Pokemon. There's no way we don't get away. There's no way we get away with not... there's no way we get away with not putting another Pokemon in play. So, we are going to go with... I think we go with the Flying Pikachu. Maybe, yeah. And now they have no ability, so they're not able to use the Dragon's Horde. They're not able to use the Regigigas Ancient Wisdom to accelerate energies. Yveltal here, so Yveltal isn't very useful in this matchup because I discard 3 energies, require destruction, and then Regigigas just says, okay, well, I want 3 energies in the discard anyway, so I can accelerate them to one of my Pokemon. So, yeah. Okay. So, that was pretty fortuitous. We'll get rid of this research. And we'll research. We get an Ultra Ball, Path to the Peak. Now, I can knock out this Regidrago, which I think is not a terrible idea. Because then they can't attack with a basic. And if they try to escape rope, then they can't use any abilities. So, maybe we do that. I think I can get rid of the Stone Fighting Energy. I don't really need the Path to the Peak. So we'll go ahead. We don't need to waste the switch. Yeah, we want to switch. And now we can just max Balloon. Start taking some KOs. They can't attack us back. They can't use a basic. We get a Crobat. That's a pretty decent prize. Although I'm very hesitant to put it into play. And they just concede. We're able to stall long enough. Alright, let's try another game. That was kind of quick. We win the coin flip. So yeah, we're going to go first. Again, we want to try and stop our opponent from kind of doing anything. So if they are playing Lugia or Palkia, we want to get our lock before we I had it done. Whoops. Before they're able to really start evolving and using the ability. But yeah, I think this is a pretty decent. Oh, we are playing a Lugia. Okay, so we're gonna see exactly how well this works against the Lugia, and I'm a little excited. I'm still kind of nervous. Lugia is very good. Lugia doesn't really play escape ropes to my knowledge, so I'm okay just going here. Do I want to do anything else? Do I Ultra Ball? I have the Hiding Dark, and I have another one in hand, so if they do escape rope or boss or something wacky, I still have the energy. And Pikachu gives free retreat. We prized our Aero V-Star, which is bad, right? It's very, very bad. I'm going to save the Yveltal for later. So the question is, do I go to Pikachu? I'm going to say yes. And we're going to force them to have the answers. Now, I don't really have much to do, so maybe Crobat was the better play. Yeah, maybe Crobat might have been the better play. Draw a couple of cards. Kind of have to get lucky with my top deck here. I would have preferred to have had the Aerodactyl in play, just so I can try to lock them out. But one of the scary things is that if a Lugia gets going, they can very easily knock out a Aerodactyl, right? They can just go between powerful colorless energies and choice belts, something that they both are attached to the current Lugia. They can very easily climb to 270, 290 and take a very easy KO in a V-Star. The challenge for me is to get the Aerodactyl into play before they're able to do anything. Now, they're not going to be able to immediately use their ability. At the very least, man, I'm going to Crobat here. I'm going to go Crobat. Discard the energies. I don't want to, but I need some cards. So the Ultra Ball was kind of a nice top deck. Okay, okay. Not exactly what I wanted to see. We'll put the Big Parasol on the Pikachu so it doesn't get Yveltal. And then I'm going to Marnie. Save the second Crobat for later. Reduce their hand size down. Okay. This is fine. This is fine. We'll go ahead and get rid of the Koffing. And I don't think I want to put Path to the Peak in play right now, because we are going to have Weezing to deal with. So now they got to go through 2 Weezings, and we have a path to the peak in play. Is it going to be enough? I just don't really have a ton. So that's kind of scary. But they're not able to use a Rangaroo. They're probably, yeah, I was going to say, they're definitely going to get another Lugia with that capture energy. They can still read the wind, attack, try to draw some cards, maybe try to figure out something, but they're not evolving, and that's smart. Because that means when I severe poison, they can just cure the poison. And they're probably going to attach like a DTE and evolve. So now I'm going to make them deal with both. Stop giving me all these tips. I don't want the tips. I know how to play. Oh no, I turned it off though. I turned it off. Why is it, So here's the Lugia V-Star. They cure the poison. Do they have a way to bump the stadium and also deal with the Weezing? Because they can attach a DTE, knock out the Weezing, but they're still not, once they do that, I mean, I guess if they do that, they can Tempest Dive, but then yeah, I should have waited. There's the Dunsparce. You hate to see it. I don't have the DTE to, oh god, of course they have it. And then they get rid of it. This is what I'm saying. I need the Aerodactyl, but the V-Star is prized. Having only one of them with no way of getting it out of the active is, or out of the prizes? We do, yeah, we don't run Peonia. And there's nothing I can do here. I have no options. Which means they just Tempest Dive again and attack. And that's it. So that path to the peak doesn't really even help here because they have the DTE. They deal with this Weezing. You know, they're hitting for 220. Now this next turn, they can go ahead and start using their Primal Turbo. But this is the power of Lugia. I don't even think this is a great counter. Do we find a okay, so we can get our own DTE, start getting our own attacks off. We are going to path them. We'll get rid of the Parasol. Oh, man. And now we're just going to discard a bunch of energies. I should have, man, I wish I didn't attach that DT. I would have loved to have gone into Yveltal here. So I'm kind of hoping they don't get rid of this path and they just attack into the Pikachu and then I just discard 3 energies from their active Lugia. That would be really fun. So hopefully they don't find a stadium or I can out. And they don't. Okay, cool. So they're going to discard it right now with Tempest Dive. But try to Pokégear, Marnie Research. Fine. They're going to be able to... They're going to be able to attack this next turn. They're going to be able to Summoning Star. And I'm already down 2 paths. So we're just going to Marnie them. I know they have Lugias in the discard. I'm just going to Cry Destruction. I'm just going to force him to put all those energies on there again. Get rid of them. Single prize Pokemon. I really wish we had an Aerodactyl in play because if we did, we'd be so set. But prizing that Aerodactyl VSTAR really hurt, unfortunately. I think this actually would have been kind of doable. But they're just going to Tempest. Oh, they can only get one at the moment. One Archeops, which is kind of nice. But they, depending on what's in their hand, they might be able to attack. If they go like, if they have an energy, they just get a DTE and any other energy attached from the hand, and now they're attacking, which kind of stinks. There's a DTE and an energy, which means they have to have one from hand. Of course they do. I wonder what that last card is. Oh, they're gonna Oranguru it. So there goes the Tempest Dive. Let's go ahead and send out the Pikachu. We get a Hiding Dark. Alright. Let's go ahead. We don't have another Yveltal. So that stinks. If we don't have like an ordinary rod to put it back, or like a Clara to get it back, which I think could be kind of useful. How many dark energies? We've got 3 in an Aurora. 2 Auroras accounted for. Is there a way that I just make them? No, because then they just attack with Tempest Dive. But I'll get it anyway, just so I have something, and I can Max Balloon, take a KO. We'll take 2 prizes. It's not enough, unfortunately. There's the arrow. I think it's just too late, unfortunately. They already used their power. We get Marnie. They need an energy. How many DT? They're down 2 DTEs. If this Lugia gets powered up, we just lose, because then they... then here comes the Primal Turbo. They attack. They win. I think this is a pretty decent matchup. If we can get our Aerodactyl to be in play. But because we can't, we just kind of lose. So there you have it. Lugia counters. It's not always a great straight counter, because Lugia can just... They build up on the bench, like we said. We didn't get the Yveltal out fast enough to just try to slow them down. It's really hard to counter a deck that in 3 attachments is knocking out almost everything. And then all they need is that one turn to use their ability. And they get those Archeops into play, and now for the rest of the game, they're ready to go, unless you have a Weezing. But once they get the Archeops, if they can get the Archeops, that means they can use the Archeops, and then all they have to do is set up one Lugia, just one, knocking out all of your, all of your Weezings. They're knocking out your Yveltals, they're discarding Temple, or a Path, or whatever. It's really difficult to deal with Lugia. You have to get that Aerodactyl out immediately. On top of Path, on top, it's tough. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I do think it is doable. But that's this deck list. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what decks you want to see in the future. We're going to continue our Counter Lugia series. So it's not really a series, but you get the idea. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.